Monitor.
There we go.
Whoa.
No, it's there we go.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead and blast it out. We're live.
We're live.
Yay!
Welcome everybody.
Wait a minute.
Yep, it just went out.
No, but look at the screen. The resolution.
Oh,
You're not in there.
perfect.
Sacre
Well,
bleu.
no, your actual resolution on the screen. What is your resolution? Because normally it's got to be like 1920 by 1080. I'm still
Zut alors.
here. The solution is just expand that particular one.
This.
Yeah, make it cover it all.
All right.
I think you.
Just FYI, FYI, you get the mirror back in there. Just FYI. Your background.
Okay.
Do we want to try that?
I'll scoot your way. Scoot your way.
All right.
Here.
You're still mirrored.
There we go.
Yay!
There we go.
Give her a shot. Now let's see how it looks on the screen.
Why does it seem
There we go.
excited? Okay. Scoot a little bit more. Sorry, guys. Some of this stuff we really should have done before we were trying. But now that you're here, I'm Zoom. This is Chim. We also have, we also have Corn, our production lead, and Tex, our community manager, here as well. And really happy to see you guys all here. We just wanted to touch base with you, say hi, and answer some of your questions. We have folks who are on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. We have folks on Steam. Feel free to ask questions on Steam. I don't think it comes through our chat bar for us to see, but every other channel does. We also have some pre-canned questions that we're gonna touch base on. Feel free as we talk along if you want some more clarification. There are some limitations to the things we are talking about, like specifically with the future. There's a lot that's in development that we're trying to ascertain, so we don't have all those answers right away. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started since we have quite a few people here and joining in. Welcome once again. So we're going to start off with some of our existing player questions. At any time, again, just toss out your question, and we'll happily answer it through the chat bar. Okay, so Outcry today asked about the sheer scale map size of World War II Online is epic. We agree. How are you going to replicate this on the Unreal Engine 5 while also being an MMO? Well, that's a really good question. There are doubts, just like in the beginning, when our predecessors created World War II Online originally. A lot of people said it was impossible. It was so bold that it couldn't be done, yet they did it. We are uniquely qualified to be able to make this happen because we have an exact blueprint of what it is we're trying to do. The way we're doing it right now is we're working with partners to port over the game through an API that we've created where data points of our existing game is being pulled in into the Unreal Engine. So we've created sort of a conversion system, and we're leveraging the best parts of Unreal 5. Specifically, with Unreal 5, they've allowed for basically what we've done all along, which is loading and unloading of terrain cells as you move throughout the map. And the idea, once again, through 2.0, is to make sure that there's no loading sequences so that it's a seamless, smooth process. And so think of a box with 9 squares inside of it, and you're in the center. And everything is loading and unloading as you move throughout the game world in that manner. The same will be achieved through Unreal. And once again, we've been doing it now for 21 years. There are a lot of other places where you could find the OpenGIS data online, and you can try and create a game world. We've seen other people create like these concepts of how to do that. But for us, we've already got, again, the blueprint. We've already demonstrated we can do this on a mass scale. And what we're not doing is taking in that OpenGIS data as it is, although it'd be really cool. It wouldn't be the same game that you're used to now, and the man hours required, which are no short of thousands of man hours and 21 years of work, plus the before release, some more. This makes it more realistically achievable for us to leverage something called landscape through the Unreal Engine, which means that in our current version of our game, we have those cracks in the terrain in some areas where you can fall through, which is really funky and strange. But with landscapes, that won't happen. So that's good, and it will be more optimized overall.
God, I remember when I first started playing. If you saw those cracks in the
Mm-hmm.
in the
You watch
terrain,
out.
oh, you avoided that like the plague.
Yeah, you go all the way
'Cause you
around.
just go straight on down.
Absolutely.
Oh,
You still see, on occasion, you still
every
see
now
them.
and then, yeah.
But we've tried to, and the reason for that is because World War II Online is a stitching of multiple different meshes, 3D models. And this whole thing that we're doing now will eliminate that. It'll make it one seamless, smooth thing. So once we port it over, then what we can do is allow for our production team, like our terrain guys, to then enhance portions. But the first key is get over there. Because as you saw in our 20th anniversary when we did our demonstration, the lighting alone is magic. It changes the way the game looks instantly.
The fighting at night is going to be
Oh, yeah.
insane.
Yeah. And we're going to have night vision too, right?
Oh yeah.
For CRS only. Did I answer that okay?
That's a rat perk, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Corn, was there anything, you were a day one rat, is there anything you want to talk about with, how is CRS going to be able to pull this off? I know there's a lot that we don't have answers to, but you were there in the beginning when they said, hey, we couldn't do this. What would you say now?
Yeah. Now it's absolutely possible. And it's a lot of it is because of hardware improvements over the days. I mean, back then we were all fastest internet connect was a 56K modem. Now everybody's running cable or better. And so we're able to push the boundaries, which we weren't able to really touch back then. So I'm actually seeing the potential for us to be able to actually deliver what we intended far more doable than it was before. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of the things that we used to have to pay attention to for simply data passing across the net. It's actually going to be more in line with what we were intending, just simply because we've got the hardware. Now, the difference in the teams, we've actually got a really solid team right now that really good people that we've got artists, we've got programmers, we've got a full accompaniment of what we need to bring this to light. It's just a matter now of delivering on our 2022 roadmap, which is our priority, and we're making great headway on that. And it's just going to keep getting better. There's really no limitations anymore with what we intend to do, aside from, of course, keeping in mind that we still do have some of our player base running older systems, so we do keep those guys in mind for performance and such like that. But even they will be seeing improvements beyond what we could have delivered in early 2000s. So
Yeah.
I'm really stoked.
Well, it's a really good point. I think I'd also like to say one of the specific questions as part of that was, how do you achieve an MMO scale in Unreal Engine when nobody else has? Closest being PlanetSide 2, but nobody's done it in the Unreal Engine. Not only do we have a blueprint for how the game was built from a client perspective, but our server architecture is second to none in terms of scale. And it's ours. It's a proprietary thing. Nobody else has it. We intend to leverage Unreal Engine's clients side stuff, so improve graphics, using the SpeedTree server development kit, everything, that whole workflow from the client end. But our server side remains our server side, and we're going to be using the best of both worlds. And the server side of World War II Online is really where the magic really happens. And so that's how we're going to be able to achieve it. Very layman's terms way to explain that, but that's how we'll intend to achieve that. That's enough of that. We've got plenty of other questions, it looks like. Alan Jackson asks, when and if will CRS be sorting out the AMD patch to improve load times? We were just talking about that. That's MIP AMD cards have had some troubles loading up the current version of World War II Online due to some MIP issues. We were just talking about that the other day. That's on the list. We did resolve that at one point, and for some reason, some of those items got taken out, so we're going to re-add them, and that will help improve it. I don't think it'll make this upcoming patch, but it should be the next one, which will be the tail end of August or probably the beginning of September. We try to do 4 to 6 week release cycles at this stage, but we will get there. You want to read this one from Kevin?
Let's see.
That's Okimo.
Okay. Can trucks set and drop? Yeah. Can trucks set and drop more than one mobile spawn? Maybe max 2. And how about an officer inf class that can be placed and in spawn point? There we go. Maybe with a 2-minute timer.
So we can't have trucks deploy more than one mobile spawn because only one mobile spawn can be issued on a per mission basis. So that's out. An officer infantry class that can place an infantry spawn point. We actually created a high command officer infantry class to do just that, and we made it a limited spawn point so that it couldn't spawn everything. That failed for 2 reasons. Number one, the mobile spawn marker, the checkbox, the little truck icon on the interface. For 2 reasons. Number one, it exclusively shows. Basically, it's just one, so you can't say, "Hey, this is a limited mobile spawn," or whatever. So it confused people. They tried to spawn in an LMG, which they couldn't. They would spawn in at the depot or a base and be like, "What the heck?" So the second and bigger problem with that was it took away from the combined arms element of the game, and it made it a bit too fast, and it was like popping up left and right all over the place. It was kind of messy. We originally, our predecessors put that in as an infantry-based mobile spawn. They were allowed to do that, but we took it out because we were concerned about, again, the combined arms working together element. It was too fast, and these pop-up armies were coming all over the place. And without a lot of EWS going off, it didn't create direct action that we were seeking for the game, front lines and things like that. Anyway, we tried twice.
Yeah.
Igor says, "Keep up the great work, guys. Looking forward to Unreal. Also, the artillery gun should be awesome." We agree. The artillery is the models are being worked on, and that's about all we can say.
I'm still waiting for my quad Boffer.
One of those questions came up. In fact, somebody was asking about a towable flak Fearling, the German quad cannon, and they said, was there any possibility of us adding towable quad cannons in the future? In the future, yes. This year, no.
Yeah.
We've already made our commitments for what 2022 is going to be, but there's nothing suggesting we cannot do that. Let's see here. So Doomzilla said, in terms of porting over vehicles, can we talk about that process a little? And once the vehicles are in the Unreal Engine with all of its data, how difficult is it to update its textures? Okay, really good question. So in my recent article, which you can see on the homepage, talking about our price increase coming on the 1st of August, I did say that one of our 2 first major goals to making this transition to Unreal successful or not was being able to port over the vehicles of World War II Online. We've created a pipeline and a tool to be able to do that, which includes all of its data points. This was no short of a huge task, and we had a couple people try for several years to be able to do that, and to no success. Fortunately, we were able to crack it, and we figured it out. In terms of once it's over and being able to update its textures, including the model, yes, once we get into the Unreal Engine and we get people working in there and understand it better, texture swaps are pretty straightforward. When I started working with the Choke Point guys on their project, I found out something really cool too. Check this out. So you can actually use a 4K texture map. You can put it in your engine, but you can hit a setting to say, hey, I just want to use it at a 1K resolution right now. But it will still keep that 4K file. So for perspective, that will allow us to have the highest capable texture map and then optimize it based on the current needs. So as computers develop even further over 2 years from now, maybe we can then use 2K of that texture 2 more years go by, 4K, and that allows us to create the best product up front, and then to be able to optimize it and release better versions of it later on. So it's hopefully that made sense, but it's pretty exciting. Do you know about that?
No, I didn't.
It's pretty damn cool. I was like, whoa, it's very impressed. Hmm.
Let's see here, who else is in here? You got Doomzilla.
Yeah, this one here is
Yeah.
about the flamethrowers.
Yeah, why didn't the devs? There we go.
Why the devs or owners consider adding flamethrowers?
Yeah, I mean, I see people say that it's on top or
2 OP, overpowered.
2 OP, right? Okay, there we go. The fuel lasts 7 to 10 seconds, depending on how your tank is. Flamethrowers would be cool. I mean, that would be awesome.
I'm just thinking about the special effects. Corn, you want to take that one? Why didn't we add flamethrowers?
Well, I don't see flamethrowers as being a not possible thing to do. It's more involved. Like you just said, it requires an effects call for that, which we can do and are capable of. And to address the being too overpowered, I would definitely argue against that, because there are a number of things to wipe out crunchies really fast that are far more overpowered than a flamethrower. Previously, we were limited on that just simply because of the data transfer going back and forth. It was a very high data load, which caused slowdowns on user systems, and ultimately it's just wasn't a feasible thing. Now, sure, we could do that, but not until we wouldn't even look at doing something like that until we deliver what we've promised that we're going to this year. As you stated, the 2022 roadmap is our focus. And after we get that, we can take a look at additional assets. It's just there's nothing holding us back from doing it other than we've already set out what we're doing for this year.
Well, everybody likes a good flamethrower in thoughts, right?
Hey, everybody, right?
I mean,
well, you know
we
us,
have
we're
to
going to
look
make
at
it
it
right.
right.
You shoot them in the cannon, they're going to burst into flames. So
we have to look at it from a gameplay perspective too. Like, how is this really going to supplement? Is this going to drive more people into our game? Is it just going to be one of those things where people are just going to walk into a CP and just start blasting, just torching the whole damn place? And
Well,
probably.
but that was part of history, though.
The question is like feasibility. The effects involved, we don't have anything that demonstrates we can do that, but it could be sorted out, I'm sure. So I think Corn properly answered the question as to why it wasn't considered. It mainly had to do with performance and trying to really build the kit out. One of our questions was how come CRS hasn't added like Pumas, Panthers, and all these other vehicles. The game has been in development for since '99, so 23 years. Been released for 21. It's an active work in progress, and that's another reason why it's so important for us in keeping all these data points and the fidelity of World War II Online as we go to Unreal, to be very careful about making sure we're setting realistic expectations. This stuff is not easy. It takes a long time, a lot of research. We try to get it right, but just be patient as best you can. You can't build it all right out front. And although 21 years, that's a long time, but yeah, we've also had different crews. We had to rebuild this thing. We had to reverse engineer it because the original team left, and so it's not all cut and dry. It's not the same people. It's been a lot.
well, and we also didn't have the solid team, the complete team put together that we do now. I mean, there was a time for a long period that the project was kind of hamstrung just because the number of people to support it was very, very minimal. And again, hats off to Zoom for carrying this thing through and keeping the lights on. Now we've got a team together that we can actually start doing some really cool stuff. And the next few years are going to just be phenomenal, especially the output that we're going to be able to put out over that time in comparison. So, yeah, I would agree with you. Just hang tight, be patient. We are very passionate about this, just like the player base is, and we want all of this in there. Tex could probably chuckle and laugh about the fact that I'm always talking. I want to get some tactical nukes in there, but obviously that's not really a realistic thing. But the engine is capable.
Okay, who's got the Narcan? Who's got the Narcan? Yeah, for
Lock
corn.
'em up. Well, let's get back to some of our questions here. There's several that are popping up in our live chat, and everybody watching, welcome. We're glad to have you here, and thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. We're going to try and blast through this list as best we can. From Igor K Dash again, he says, one thing is, can you add more channels to the game? We probably could. That's not an immediate urgency for us, but yeah, we probably could. Doug Schwartz says, I've been here since the launch day through the tough times with y'all, but can there be a better side balance mechanism implemented? Seems like the allied side is always undermanned.
That's a tough one because, I mean, since I've been in the game, there's always one side has always been overpopped than the other. There's really no way to really ensure that there's going to be that balance, because some people say, well, force certain players, and maybe they're new players or whatever, to be on one side or the other. I'll tell you, if somebody was doing that to me, I would never play the game again.
It's tough.
So I mean, it's a really tough balance. But to be honest, it kind of depends. If you look at the overall win-loss history of the game, right now it's actually leaning towards Axis more wins than the Allies by, like, I think 4 campaigns
Over this year?
out of the whole history.
Well, yeah.
So it's pretty balanced as far as the win-loss history. So, being overpop, when the Allies, I mean, I know the Allies were kind of down on this campaign and such. So, yeah, you're going to, and it's historical. You see that side that's losing get underpop more easily.
Yeah.
So, but even at that though, I've been the little time I've been able to play this campaign, there were several times where the Allies were overpop, and it's just like, okay, hey, let's get this going. We're overpop. Let's get off of defense mode and start going and stuff. So it kind of goes back and forth. There is, I don't know. For me personally, I can't see how we can make that pop balance better.
Well, we've tried things like the balance capture timers. If somebody's overpopulated by so much, then their capturing is slower, and based on that indifference, that imbalance, the underpopulated is faster captured. We'll say this: there are many ideas inside of CRS, which we're not going to dive into today, that we are exploring, because we know that we should continue to pursue a more balanced game. Other games balance it very easy because it's straightforward. In other MMOs, and what I mean by that before I go into other MMOs is that you have typically anywhere from 40 to 100 players in that match, right? It's a small scale match, and throwing people from one side or to the other is expected. It's here, it's not. You're expected to join your squad, be loyal, be on your side, have freedom of choice in the process. And that's something that we offer a lot of in World War II. Other MMOs are, mostly fantasy-based, where it's player versus environment, where that's not really a problem. So we have a unique set of challenges because we have a one-of-a-kind game, and there's no easy answer. But to be more clear, CRS is always pursuing, and there is active discussions internally about how we can do a better job. And we do pay attention to the feedback coming through. Although we don't have like a huge list, we can say, this is what we're doing, blah, 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 blah. We do agree that both sides, not just the Allied side, but both sides experience imbalances which are unhealthy for gameplay. The whole garrison supply system across the game world did help manage that for players when HC officers were not online, to give them a fighting chance. Now we've given all premium players who are lieutenant colonels access to the HC tools, and we've stabilized a hole in our game design. So things are happening. They're not necessarily fast. The pain that is experienced in those moments of losing is tough, but it takes time for us to produce solutions that are well thought out and battle hardened. Or sometimes we just say, hey, we're going to take a risk and try it out for intermission or a campaign and see what happens. But we try to make sure we mitigate as much risk as possible before doing that. That was probably a long answer,
Yeah.
but it's something that affects everybody. So I don't know how to say Oiro's name here. I think that's your last name. Sorry, but approximately how long until World War II Online will be ported onto the Unreal Engine? Surely you know the answer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let me. Wait a minute. No, it's
No?
not there.
So we've been very careful to say this is going to be a multi-year process. It's not going to be super easy. It's not going to be easy at all. It's going to be very challenging, but very rewarding. And with the continued support of the World War II Online community, Playnet/CRS will continue to inform you of the progress being made. And that's a huge reason why we're doing this price increase. It's not to, we're not going off on some big journey and getting rich. A lot of us put in tremendous hours. Jim is one of our volunteers, and we have other volunteers as part of our project as well. It's passion that we're doing, and that money is being used to invest into the future so that we can continue to progress. Because that's what we all want, right? I mean, we want another 20 years. We would like to experience the rebirth of this thing, and not just us, but you guys. So that's what it's all about. Don't have an easy answer for you on that one. Chris Aries says, how about a Pacific model or map?
No, the Japanese.
Yeah. No, I mean, it'd be cool. World War II Online was supposed to be this huge, large-scale world, and that potential still exists, but getting onto the Unreal Engine is our ultimate priority. That's number one, because it's going to get us more customers. It's going to make us competitive in a way that we haven't been competitive in a very long time.
And it's going to open up so many doors to further developments.
Well, yeah,
I
and
mean,
developers.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, like, new assets and everything else. I mean, it's going to do so much for the game.
And modern workflows, things that are
Yeah.
plaguing us to get basic things done. These guys, people who are in college right now will be able to come out of college and start participating on a project with very limited oversight because it's well documented. And that's something our engine hasn't really had, unfortunately. It's tough. It's been 23 years, but
Yeah.
didn't have a... So World War II Online by 2040. No, we didn't say that. But that maybe 2039, like he... No, it shouldn't be
Soon,
before that.
trademark,
They're trolling us.
pretty much.
There's questions on the Zoom chat, by the way, also. So you guys want to work, I just pick those things out. So you have that. I'm trying to get that transfer.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Tex. We're working hard over here. By all means, if you got one, go for it.
Okay, well, Corn has asked answered some of the questions regarding the naval asset development. That's not part of our 2022 roadmap. So that'll be something that's into the future. There's been a couple questions here on artillery, and my question was, could you guys give them a quick synopsis of the mortar and the 105s that are currently in development?
Yeah, we can have Corn do that because he's been the guy pretty much as production team lead. He's been maneuvering all the personnel and the research and everything, so he's best qualified to answer that. But try to summarize, Corn.
So what specifically are you looking for on those texts?
Somebody was asking and actually made a very good comment about, hey, the game is perfect. I'm just missing the artillery. And I don't know if he was aware that the self-propelled mortars are close. And then, of course, we hope to have behind that the big guns. So,
Right.
So you're looking for implementation timeline, not design.
fair question for most gamers. When can we get our hands on it?
How about now?
So
Okay, let's get tomorrow.
boy, I tell you what, I wish that I could just say go log in and pull them down right now. I will say that the as you stated, Tex, the motorized mortars are currently in testing. They're in development. We're on track to get those guys wrapped up and out hopefully within the next release. They are, we've got 81 millimeter mortars that are out on the for all countrysides, but they're historic. So even we even have the German, and the German, in fact, is just under 81 millimeters. In fact, so funny enough, it's slightly smaller, but you're not going to notice it when it hits. I mean, it's still going to be just as bad. Reach on them, they are historical range. They're not a close fire weapon. These are all indirect fire, so you definitely are going to want support with you on that. As far as the artillery pieces go, we're right now moving forward on 105 millimeters for the Axis and Allies. As for a delivery timeline on those guys, they're close, but they're not going to make the next release. We've still got some stuff that we've got to get cleaned up, but the assets are created. There's just some back end work that we have to do on those for functionality wise. But otherwise, I mean, there's going to be some changes on the battlefield coming shortly with the reach these things have. So
well, and these motorized mortars, they will be probably one of the longest firing indirect fire weapons that you can use in any game, and especially when we get our artillery in, it's just that much further.
Right, the artillery is, I think, Allies is like 11K. So I mean, town to town is what you're looking at.
Yeah, and that's pretty amazing. Of course, you're going to have to use teamwork and stuff. And so with
Absolutely.
artillery, this is probably a day one request. The motorized mortars, the carriers there are pretty cool. Definitely another big one. Get your feet wet pretty soon. The artillery might be the following patch. It may be the next one. We don't want to commit on that officially because we want to get them right. We want to make sure that they're battle tested and ready so that when you get in there, that they're working correctly. So while the artwork is complete, we still have lots of data points to cover. We have developer functionality to go through. We have QA to go through. The question of when, hurry now, which is the normal expectation of our players, is okay. But we're here to make sure we keep you guys grounded in reality to say, we're on it, we know it, and we're getting it done. So stay patient, and we'll keep you guys posted. We don't typically like to talk about our implementation timelines exactly and more officially until they're in a true testing phase and on a server, because then we know it's really close. Okay, so here's Gust Mint. How much will performance in World War II Online 2.0 be affected? Roughly the same, or will lower end PCs no longer be supported? Yeah, you're going to have to upgrade. There's just no way about it. We can't have better looking graphics and stuff and not have you guys upgrade, period. I would recommend getting Intel and an NVIDIA card. If you want to do the AMD Radeon route, you can. Yeah, you're going to have to upgrade. And don't buy off of Craigslist from dude who built his own custom PC. Get a really good one.
But yeah, I would, we're going to try to optimize it as best as we can, to make sure that, we'll do everything we can on our side. But just with anything that's on Unreal Engine, I mean, you're definitely going to have to.
You just have to.
Yeah.
I mean, and no, same thing with integrated graphics cards. World War II Online from day one has not supported integrated graphics cards, and some people have managed to sneak through and make it happen. But yeah, given the scale that we're trying to achieve, and now with the graphics involved, the good news is that Unreal Engine will be distributing more than World War II Online currently does of its graphics processing power to the GPU itself. Whereas right now, World War II Online is like 90, everything other than SpeedTree.
Yeah,
SpeedTree is used by the CPU in World War II Online. So there's going to be better distribution in that way too, fortunately.
Well, and
it's
also
mostly
keep
single-threaded.
remind as well that we are running a single-threaded application on multi-threaded processors. So even going to the Unreal Engine, just simply that is going to give us an incredible performance boost.
Exactly. So, and then better lighting and shaders and the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of good reasons to do this. Dex, you got more questions?
Just put one there, but just synopsize. There was a request from Discord from Base 21 regarding trawlers being able to spawn from all seaports, or even actually potentially even riverine spawning depots versus always a deep water, very specific ports.
Yeah, just regular docks. We have to research that. Making that change is very subtle. It's very basic. We'd have to work with our research team to verify that that was a thing. And if it was, whether it was a one-off or a common practice, we try to balance that. If it does seem like it's usable, fine. That's not an issue at all. Might actually get some better usage out of them. A lot of work went into those, and it was the first new vessel added to the Navy in like 15 years, and
Yeah.
it's just a little slow. Hell of a great gun, though. I mean, they've got great guns on them.
Oh, I love it.
They're fun. Yeah, the quad cannons are.
You betcha.
And I was remiss here. Denzel has asked a question here, and I skimmed over that, so my apologies there. Wanted to know what happened to the new city blocks that were first talked about in 2019.
Those were shelved. We worked with the artists. I remember that discussion. It was with MKW and XL2 Ripper. They spent 6 months working on that project, and we were looking for deliverables. And I asked for no BS assessment, and sometimes you have to do that. Not that they intend to, but I just like, hey, tell me how it is. Are you guys going to be able to get, work on like deliver something in the near future? Well, what that project really represented was the beginning stages of the environment artists really learning about the FLT hierarchy that is involved with open flight models, which is everything that's in World War II Online currently, other than infantry. It's a lot. There's a lot involved. And they went into that project with high expectations and hopes. And at that mark, the 6-month mark, it was like, okay, are we going to be able to do this? And, or I said, would it be easier and more efficient for you guys to take some of our other existing FLTs, our other existing city blocks, and repair those and modify them to add new stuff? And that's what they chose. They said, realistically, we're really burned out and we don't think this is going to be usable stuff. And if we go that route, yeah. And within that next 6 months, they delivered several fixes, changes, and we unlocked what were the previous city blocks, which were the damage state was locked because there was optimization and technical issues wrong with them. So that's what happened with that, and we won't see those. We have no intent to try and reuse them because they're broken models.
But because of that research, we did get our the Pentagon bunker out of it.
Yes.
And the revival of the changes to some of the bunkers.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The old we brought back. It was very important for us to bring back the Pentagon bunker as well as the regular concrete bunker, and we actually need to add more of those throughout the game world.
Yes.
Because we started doing that, but you have to swap them out one by one, and we'll aim for that next patch. That's more because the old school bunkers are awesome. They have a lot more character than the farmhouse ones. All right, Tex, you got more questions?
I did. There was someone made. This is from Facebook, and so I don't have the gamer nick. But was asking regarding to turning a high explosive round into something that works against infantry.
Turn the high explosive round that works.
Well, but I mean, it just basically he's looking for more of an impactful high explosive round. And the way that was always explained to me was that because we have a one core graphics engine, there's only so much we can push through that one pipe.
Let's be specific. We can use one core of your CPU, your processor. Your graphics engine is something separate, your GPU. But everything, whether it's the data transmission or most of what you see on your screen, all the moving parts, and that is predominantly, I'd say about 95% on your CPU, a single core. It's a lot. So if we introduce more fragmentation, that means there's more fragments your CPU has to process. We tried to make that more efficient by reducing the number of rays when that explosion occurs to distribute, but make sure that if it hits, it sends the same amount of calculation. With that being said, they were upped not long ago, and depending on what type of shell you're using, HE rounds can do some serious damage. It won't totally devastate everything in your way, but over the last couple of years, I've used HE successfully many times. I think better than before against other infantry. And in terms of HE and shooting things down, I'm pretty sure Chim can tell you about his. He's very good in the Bofors.
Yeah.
Don't fly a paratrooper plane around him.
I still get crap for that.
Well, two things from that. One is that a pro tip would be that high explosive rounds are more effective. And I'm talking about from the ground, not from the air, from Tim, who's a maestro. Is that when that round is impacting short, then that shell explodes, and then those rays and those shrapnel then goes forward and through the target versus trying to put the round right on the target, and then literally the shrapnel passes behind. And so that's some guys get confused with that. And so
Yeah. It's
so
not a flechette round. It just doesn't spray. You gotta have
360,
an impact first, and then that sends the shrapnel.
right.
So
And
like
then someone
when I'm shooting infantry with Beaufort, I'm aiming before their
Sick.
feet. You know, where their feet are, I'm actually aiming in front of their feet. So that way it impacts off the ground and then spreads out. And so the shards kill the infantry.
Well, and that's actually something that you just pointed out about our engine as well, which is a lot of people are under the impression of when an HE round explodes on impact that it's just this circular ring of shrapnel that goes out, when in fact, in reality and the way it works in the game, is it's all dependent on the velocity of the round, its impact angle, and what's around it to determine the spread of the shrapnel, and it's typically going to carry in the direction that the round is going, its initial flight path, which exactly is why Chim's saying he shoots at the ground in front of him to spray it into him, because if he tries to hit between him, he's probably not going to get more than maybe a couple scratches.
Exactly. And when I'm shooting at airplanes or aircraft, you know, I always aim for the pilot as I'm shooting, because, you know, the way the planes were made back in World War II and stuff. I mean, you could look up images of the World War II planes and stuff, and you'll see like bullet holes all over the wings and the fuselage and everything, and the planes don't survive. But you know, and I know a lot of anti-air players in the game. Oh, I shot that plane, you know, I hit it dead on, and you know, in the fuselage and stuff, but the damn thing just kept on flying. Well, it's not a critical area of the plane. You know, it's just like our armor in the game. There's certain areas where you're going to have a better impact of that vehicle than other parts. So I just always shoot for the pilot. If the pilot's dead, he ain't gonna, you know, you're a done deal. So yeah, you could definitely hit planes and stuff with the anti-air guns and stuff, and just won't do a thing. You just gotta know where to hit them.
So somebody here on YouTube, Death the Pizza, or Death to the Pizza, I'm not sure, said, I know you guys said in Big Fry's stream.
In Fry's stream.
Big Fry's stream. I'm not sure that the originals from CRS left. I wanted to ask how the old bunch are doing. Did they retire or what? Just curious. Some of them moved on to other jobs. Some of them did retire. Most of them are doing pretty okay. As far as we know, we try to keep up, and we invite them to, we had several on our 21st anniversary ride out, like, hey, how's it going? We heard from KFS one, Doc,
Raptor.
Gopher, Raptor, Mo. Mo is a good one to hear from.
Yeah.
We haven't heard from Mo in a while. We've heard from Snail a little while ago. Who was the other one? Linder. Yeah. And, you know, there's several others. We talk to Killer every so often.
Caligula.
Oh, Caligula.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really cool. And there's several others. Toto, Blue. They're all doing pretty okay. They're doing their own thing. Everybody just sort of spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
Lovewing said, "I heard Doc has AIDS." No, he did. On a more serious note, he did have
cancer.
he did have cancer,
Yeah.
but he's successfully beat it, and he's keeping a close eye on it. Doctors say he's doing very well, and we keep pretty close with Doc to make sure he's doing
Yeah.
all right. So, uh,
They're great.
I do appreciate that laugh.
You know, from the original CRS team, I haven't had too much contact with them, but the ones that I have, I mean, they're all in 110% support of what we do, and you know, they're amazing guys. Corn I didn't know until he came on board with us.
Same.
You know, but you know, talking with Doc, if any of you have ever talked with Doc, oh my God, he's
Good luck.
yeah,
He won't stop.
he's a great guy, and I really can't wait until we get a convention.
We were talking about Vegas.
We are talking about Vegas for our next convention.
So every convention we've done officially has been in, Dallas Fort Worth because that's where the company's located. We were thinking Vegas this time,
yeah,
and you've never been.
I've never been to
I
Vegas,
just don't get it. I
Oh.
can't process that.
so yeah, it'd be pretty cool, especially if some of the originals came.
That'd be
Just,
cool. We might have to bus them over or something.
I know, right?
That'd be a trip.
But,
Kind of a party bus.
Leave a comment down below and let us know if you'd be down to going to Las Vegas for a convention. Maybe in about a year?
We'd want at least a year's worth of planning. If we decided 2023, that would work. But
Yeah,
we'd want to pick a time that most people can attend. So summer, probably midsummer.
yeah,
Not necessarily our anniversary because that's kids are still getting out of school and it might be too tough. I don't know.
yep.
Well, let's carry on with some more questions. We probably want to wrap it up here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. What other pressing ones do you have for us, Tex?
Do you feel guys want to give an update on Wellington?
The Wellington is at this very second in a standby status waiting for a flight model. Our artists did go through making sure 6 ways to Sunday, according to them, that they found and corrected any issues that were outstanding. There's been some real life occurrences with a particular producer, which has slowed things down a little bit. Life happens. We have to understand that and work with it. However, we've also put a lot of energy into making sure that using other resources to get these mortar carriers out. Following this patch completion, which we're at the tail end of right now, the Wellington will once again go back into the spotlight for, and that just happens. It's not as if, it's intentional. It just sort of happens. We have multiple people working on different things. And if that one thing is that much closer to completion, then sometimes we have to pull assets away from what they're currently working on to help make sure that any last minute fine tuning things take place. So that when it gets in your hands, it's ready. So that's that. Someone 129 said, can we get like armor divisions and stop having armor everywhere like it is in the game right now? So that's a possibility. We're not going to rule it out, but we're also not going to say yes at the moment because we want to be careful with putting that requirement on our high command guys right now. Even with the influx of lieutenant colonels, that's a Band-Aid. We don't want to create a situation where the game is once again totally dependent on people in HC to be online, or else the rest of the game and its players suffer. I know that sounds kind of negative, and it is, but we want to be really careful to slowly crank that back up.
The Breakfast Club would come back.
Well, yeah, there is that too. There is that too.
I mean, I can see the pros and cons to it, but I don't know. And
we just got to take it slow.
Yep, absolutely.
Euphabone says, I'm going to try and blast through some of these because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who wrote things on Discord and earlier. I want to get through them. So Euphabone mentioned, what if the reserve classes were only available for free-to-play accounts, and that supply could not be used by paid subscribers? I think a recent patch we did actually made that happen. There are free-to-play weapons that cannot be used by other than free-to-play, which is great. Scub asks, quick question, are tow accounts slowed for free-to-play, or is that a sub memberships only. We don't arbitrarily slow down any vehicle like that. Certainly towed accounts or anything. There's no difference there. So no, that's those. The answer to that is no. There's no slowdown in towed accounts at all. The only thing we really do is we with free to play equipment. Sometimes we like the reserve SMG. We have reduced ammo, but that ammo still has the same performance properties as others. So we don't nerf that. Jamie G, can people pay a lower dollar amount or discounted rate for prepaying for a longer period of time? Great question. With these price changes upcoming, I don't think so. We're not really in a desirable position to offer a discount when we're trying to correct a self-inflicted issue. We went with this price change last year with the full intention of doing the right thing, providing an opportunity for more people to come into the game. We didn't see that. And what we saw was our existing players jumping off their higher paying plans to the lower ones. And as I said, from a consumer perspective, it makes total sense, but now it's hurting and it's taking away from those goals that you guys want us to achieve. And that's why we're making the tough decision to go, man, we really wanted not to do this, but now we kind of have to.
And we tried so hard.
We really did. We gave it a solid year before we did anything, but we knew that this was a risk, and we did give ourselves an out and say, hey, we wrote it in big red letters. We might have to revert this if this isn't taken seriously. And, you know, there were a lot of people who held on to their higher paid plans and did the right thing. And they're going to be rewarded for that by having an extra 3 or 4 months of builder access. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we already answered that one earlier about the questions. Fo asks about Mad Jack Churchill loadout for the Brits. No, there's been no discussion about that. And would you model the Enfield N2 revolver? We could. It's not really exciting. I don't know much of the difference, but modeling infantry weapons right now takes a long time for us. We do have an animator. We're back to that, thank goodness.
Yes.
But it's not only cheap, not cheap, but it is long and somewhat painful introducing those kind of equipment. Even though it sounds simple, like.
Oh,
That
gosh, no.
you know, it's a multiple month process if you believe
Yeah.
it or not. Euro, when will we move to the old 2000 engine? We answered that. It's a multi-year process. We're doing it. We're on the way now. We're going to keep you up to date, but I can't give you like a date. Like this is gonna. I want a date. I don't have one, so we have ideas, but that's why we're keeping it kind of loose because we have learned. We all know you want it yesterday. So do we. But we learned that y'all keep us really accountable.
Yeah.
You know, if we say something, and even in like a private message, it's front page news if we don't deliver.
I'll tell you what, though, the progress that I've seen just from the tidbits that I see behind the scenes, phenomenal. You know, I mean, you guys seen the on the 20th anniversary, we did the little demo and stuff, and just since then, just the little tidbits that I've seen in meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just night and day difference. I mean, I can't wait for it. I mean, we want it as much, if not more, than you guys do. I mean, it's so cool. It's from the development side. I'm sure Corn can attest that. I mean, just working on the back end of the game in the Unreal Engine is going to be light years ahead of what we've got now. I mean, it's just being able to switch something with a click of a button instead of writing layers and layers and layers of code.
Well, and our artists
Yeah.
are saying that, you know, just I talked to you about the texture thing earlier. I mean, that's just one element. Actually being able to use motion cap for animation creation. Hello, do I need to say
Yes,
any more?
exactly.
It's
Going to make life so much easier
yeah,
for future developments and
look a lot
fixes.
better. And not only is it easier to work in, but there's so many more tools. It's all right there, and they can test in real time. They don't have to do all the steps we have to do.
Yeah.
It's like going to an automatic transmission from a really
manual.
epic manual. Yeah,
A 3 on the
with
tree,
a really
right?
broken clutch. You know.
But yeah, we definitely want it, like I said, as much, if not more, than you guys, you know, do as far as switching over. So
And it's happening.
yeah, it is. But you know, once again, it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Let's keep blasting through. Euphabone asks, when will the BAR get grenades and smokes? The Sturmgewehr does. I don't have an answer to that. I normally do that. If that is the case, I'll look into it. And that would be a straightforward
Did
fix.
they have a grenade launcher?
No grenades.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
you
grenade.
can
Somebody carry them on the
Yeah.
TLE for the.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
gotcha.
BAR with a cut.
I was like, really? I know,
Yeah.
right? That'd be cool.
Yeah. Base 21. We may have asked. I saw this question earlier. He asked, will there be a towable spa edition of the Flak Fearling in the future? Did we answer this? I felt like we talked about it.
I think we talked
We
about
talked
it
about
offline.
it. Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see them on the trawlers. So the models there, they could probably be a little bit better. Is it under development? No, it's not under development because we haven't talked about it in our roadmap. If it's not in our roadmap, we do introduce some things on rare occasion if there's spare time, which we're doing everything we can this year to get our roadmap completed within this year time frame. We've had some things, Wellington being one of those rough examples, kind of like the JU-88 was. It's that gift that keeps on giving. We're just trying to get it done, and it will be done before this year. Hopefully, much sooner than that. But no, the quad cannon AAs for the ground are they're not a thing right now for us to. We're not doing that right this second. Chris Gates, when we get in the Panther, naturally, Chris would ask that. He does every chance he can. We'll get back to you on that. That's something that is not on our roadmap once again, but I think it's something we should explore and we desire.
Yeah.
A lot of people would like that. But when we do, we expect you to subscribe, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Subscription on from the YouTube chat. I don't know if you guys saw this. The identified DA, he also said his game nick was Palpatine, that he has resubscribed based upon our chat today.
Oh, perfect.
Nice. Welcome back.
As Emperor Palpatine would say, I would say good. All right, we've got two more questions here, Tex, and we'll get back to you, and you can just roll with it. Chris Brooks said, "Is there a way to make the map stop centering to where the game thinks I should be at instead of where I want to look at?"
That's from it's going to zero in on your last brigade that you were spawned in from.
Oh, I see. He's talking about the game map. I thought he meant like when he spawned in, he presses M. I was like, it's supposed to center.
It
You're
does.
right. So that one's fine. So you think he's talking about
I thought
the
that
web map, like the theater map.
right. That's how I interpreted it, but
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, you have two answers. If you're spawned in, it's supposed to be doing that. If you're at the theater map, or where the brigades are, yeah, we'll look into that. I'm not sure. David Adams, I think that's XCast. He said, "When are all planes going to get a damage model overhaul?" Good question. Several cases, it's probably necessary. I don't have an answer. When I hear audits, I cringe at this stage. You can't even contain a serious face.
I can't imagine why.
Every audit we get into is very extensive. It's long, it's painful, and really doesn't produce us a good result. In fact, the two that we've done has pissed more customers off than we've improved things. That's from what we hear, because we always hear the negative stuff a lot louder than we do the positive. Which, if there are positive things, guys, by all means, we love to hear about it. Not all the negative. Balance it a little bit if you could. There are some models that need to be looked at. I'll say that. And the guy who would probably be most likely to do that would be Hatch. But we're talking every single audit we've done is a 6-month bender of pain for everybody. So again, I'm not really excited about digging into that, I'll say.
Well,
I know it's important, but it's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, and it is something that we do need to
I know.
look into, but given the amount of stuff that we've taken on with the Unreal Engine and everything else, personally, I would suggest after we're able to get everything ported over to Unreal Engine 5 and where the dust is kind of settled, then that's
well, there's too many unknowns
Yeah.
at the moment. I think when we find ourselves in that transition to the Unreal 5 from a production point of view, there may be an opportunity for a lull, in which case that would be the right time to do it.
right. Because, once again, if we went through and did a huge audit at this point, once we do go over to the Unreal Engine, it's going to change. I mean, or it may change to
Well,
a
the
certain
data
degree.
points, the data
The
points,
data points
will not.
would.
Well,
But
actually, they wouldn't because we're trying to keep our current fidelity of. So
Yeah.
that conversion tool we created
Yeah.
is intentionally taking our existing data points, and when he does an audit, it could be the flight data, it could be the armor values, it could
Right.
be the location of things. That whole tool transports that over. So we would be best served to reduce our technical debt load to fix those issues now before they go over to Unreal. So that's a really great argument to say, yeah, we should do it sooner than later. But the cost of that is, okay, content pipeline is going to slow down. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
yeah,
So if you want new stuff or you want some other fixes to other things, it's just a time sink. No matter how you slice it, it's going to be a huge time sink.
right.
Tex, do you have other questions? Because I think we maybe 10 more minutes of this, and then we'll call the ball.
Okay. Yeah. Dozy had asked about about the Panthers, and I think you just addressed that. The other one we had was from Cooper, and this is from YouTube in regards to looking at the scale of the game. We're currently 2-1. He was interested to about a 1-1 given the density of aircraft, personnel, tanks, planes, trains, and automobiles.
So 1-to-1 scale map. That's what you said.
Right, and he was also talking about fuel as well.
The short answer is no, and the reason for that is while that is super cool, like I said earlier, our conversion is we're bringing over our existing game and the location of everything. If we expand the size of that, we're going to screw up everything we're trying not to screw up. And that's not to make him sound bad. It's a
No.
natural question.
Yeah,
It's completely fine. But that's a key reason. The second is, and it goes back to the original reason why the original crew made it a 2-to-1, or the half scale, if you will. And that is, we have to consider play times. I mean, people have already criticized World War II Online as being a walking simulator. If we make it a true large game world 1-to-1 scale, that's going to double the timeline to get to places.
yeah,
And that's really tough. And well, the natural response is we'll put the village in between. That was very common. We can do that now, but we haven't. Why? Because it's not simple.
yeah,
So anyway, I'm not trying to come off negative. I'm just saying I'm trying to provide some key points. 1, our conversion. 2, timeline to contact. 3, filling in those blanks aren't so simple. So that's my response. I would also double his flight time, just so you know.
Yeah, that's a thing. And so, speaking of that, did we want to that fuel calculator? That was not asked. Well, it was referencing Cooper's question. Do we have an update on that?
No, we don't. Again, the same person that was working on that had some serious real life stuff come up, a death in the family, and things like pretty important things. Taking a back seat, but not forgotten though.
Good. Even just having that update there, that's good to get that out there to the community. So,
Yep.
thank you for answering that. And I think we've got one more coming, and I think that's going to wrap it up. Dozy's typing it out right now. As soon as I get it, I'll be able to relay it to you, gentlemen.
I'll tell you what, let me intervene for a second. I want to thank everybody for showing up here for this little impromptu live stream. We've done this, when was the last time we did this? 2019, I believe.
Could have been
I live
the
in
one where you and I.
right
Okay, yeah. So
where we were in the coffee shop.
Mhm.
I live in California. My family, me and my family, we came up here to Oregon to visit some friends, and Matt and his family actually came down and to the coast area where we're at, and which I thought was pretty cool, and I appreciate you guys coming down.
Yeah,
And
fun.
so it's not a frequent occasion where I get to sit right next to Zoom. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here and just enjoying your company and your questions here. But I especially want to thank everybody who contributed to the fundraiser. I mean,
It's making these things possible.
it's making everything possible.
There's
And
no question about it. Yeah.
so, we had some, we had a couple people that really chose the higher up
Oh, yeah.
packages and stuff. And, it
At a
doesn't,
loss of words, so it's kind of like
it doesn't go into pockets. It goes into the game. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people think that it just goes into
Well, when you
You
don't
know,
see the faces,
like-
you just assume horror stories, and one little joke turns into a reality. And yeah,
yeah.
it's
But-
not.
But you know, it's everybody's contributions, whether it was a fundraiser or your subscriptions and stuff. That's what makes the game possible. That's what
Yeah.
is paving the way for us to get to Unreal Engine. It you know it's not feasible without your subscriptions and stuff. And I know it's like a broken record, and I don't want to harp on people, but really, I mean, we're doing everything we can as volunteers. Almost, I'd say 98% of us are volunteers in CRS. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
understand that. You know, because you know we're doing this because we want to, and you know, like I know for me personally, I pay several different subscriptions to the game to support the game, even though I'm you know, in CRS. And all the rats and all the, you know, everybody that's in CRS and not even rats and stuff, everybody contributes to this game. You know, we do everything we can, and but I just want to say thank you to especially to the fundraisers and of course our builders, because that's what really
Yeah,
makes
our subscribers in general is, you know, these fundraisers we do not, we do them because they're necessary to accomplishing the development and production goals that you've asked us to do. Taking the game into the future is so paramount for so many reasons. We have to stay competitive. We have to truly innovate for the game to make it another 20 years. As long as you're with us, as long as you're subscribed and supporting what we're doing, and especially with this upcoming increase in the subscription, it's going to empower us to do even more. We are actively investing into people. We've put on, this year alone, we've put on more contractors to get these other items done. That's why you're seeing an increased output from CRS. We're investing in our current people through rewards and saying thanks. They do remain volunteers, but we do try and help them when we can, where we can. But this whole investment into Unreal is where the bulk of funds is going at this stage. And it's natural and appropriate. We have to pay for some pretty serious development time, and that's just the nature of the beast. So as Chim said, thank you guys for contributing to the fundraiser. We didn't have one since 2019. We took a break.
No.
That was a 2-3 year stretch. We did that intentionally to try and mitigate it. And at the same time, we reduced our price point. That didn't work out, but we tried. We put our best foot forward and tried to say, okay, this is the price point you guys said you prefer. Max it out. So, but thank you guys for giving us the flexibility to try that out, and also make that commitment to say, look, with the inflation that's taken place, that's hard on everybody. We get it. But people abandoning their plans and not seeing that increase of volume has put us in a position where to continue this investment and to keep going forward, this is just what we had to do. It's not popular. I had some rough nights thinking about it, to be honest. I know our team was really like, this is not great. Nobody wanted this. It's just the way it has to be so that we can succeed. And if that is your mission, if you've been here since day one or just today, and have this idea in your head that, you know what, the idea of World War II Online 2.0 on this mass scale, looking like potentially Hell Let Loose or Postscriptum, and with our new project that we've acquired, Choke Point, if these are the guys that are going to do it, if they've got the the gall to do this, the cojones, if you will, to pull that off, I want to be a part of that. You know, people, they're Patreons for much smaller scale project. This is something that's really bold and innovative. And for that, you're not only getting access to a great game, which you can play today, but you're getting that confidence in knowing that you can invest into a team like this, and that reward will be reaped eventually. And in the more short-term future, Choke Point will be right around the corner, and hopefully will drive even more life into our brand and what we consider now a franchise. And Choke Point, for that's just the beginning of that. You know, who knows, that that is a product where it could potentially go out on console.
It could.
It's very it's on the Unreal Engine. It's being ported over to 5 right now. That could go to console or one day, and then we could have a whole other revenue stream supporting World War II Online 2.0 development. So we're doing what we can to do things differently around here. The last couple of years have seen a series of big changes that has to do with big changes in leadership at PlayNet, and we're doing what we can. So we just hope we have your support. Tex, I know you may have had another question or two. We did want to get that information out. Did you have any last things you wanted to share or other questions from the community?
I think we're okay on the questions part. We took care of that on Discord chat here. We had someone who just recently joined our Discord channel earlier today and was asking some questions on Unreal Engine, and so he's really excited about that. So we've got some new people and old people who are excited. And that's the thing is I would like to say here is that, guys, if you look at World War II Online, as has been reiterated very eloquently by Zoom and Tim, we are a very rich entertainment channel that is very, very affordable, that you as a subscriber, as a participant, even if it's free to play, have a direct opportunity to directly contribute, whether that through your thoughts and your ideas and your feedback, as well as your monetary contributions, which we are so appreciative of. And here's the thing there too, is that as far as we've come, and we look at some of our other competitors, and where there's just some areas where it's verboten. We're not going there. We're not doing that. And what our small company is doing, to think back, if you say, well, we want this to happen sooner, great. How does that happen? By subscribing. And then if you don't choose to subscribe, that's your decision. We understand that. But to also think there, hey, what if we don't get there? And to think that, hey, CRS was only months away. When I say months, I'm not talking about like next quarter. I'm talking about, if you talk about years times 12 months, if to sit there and say, if we're that close to that goal, why wouldn't you be involved? Because that's the question. If you're really a dedicated gamer who has been with us for the long haul, that should be the thing that inspires you to continue contributing. And some of those guys who have captured that vision have done a great job in supporting us, and we just need more teammates for people to come along and help us with that, because we are so frugal with our resources that can only accelerate our development and getting us to the promised land, so to speak. And I'll step away from the pulpit.
Well, it's a really, really good point there. Corn, did you have any last comments here for the community?
No, I just wanted to say that thanks for supporting us along the way, and you're gonna knock your socks off when 2.0 comes out. So stick around. This is gonna be a really cool year just for 1.0. But boy, once 2.0 starts rolling, you guys are in for a treat.
Yeah. Well, all good words, guys. Thanks for sharing that. And raising the noise level on everything going on, I think it's important. We've started this momentum, this snowball, and we need the community's help to keep that going. If you're in contact with fellow squad mates from a long time ago, maybe you guys still connect, maybe you know each other, maybe you're brothers or sisters, I don't know, fathers and sons, or maybe you're just a part of a gaming group. Any information of sharing this out there, we have linked as part of this article. It's called The Future of World War II Online. You can also Google that, and it should show up near the top. It articulates in great detail with two very powerful videos that just lay it all out on the table for you. Check that out, and you'll have a clear understanding of everything going on. This has been a real joy and pleasure to talk with not only our guys, to see Jim and his family, but also to talk with you guys and to share this. We probably should do this more often. This is considered a more informal and I would say one-way rat chat. If this is something you guys like to see more of and you guys want to put together questions, we can't do it every month, maybe once a quarter, once every 6 months, because the information has to be valuable and different. If we showed up next month, it'd be the same
conversation.
Yeah,
same
not to suggest nothing new would happen, but there's only so much we can say until things come to fruition. But yeah, anything else? Or?
No, if you guys liked these type of live streams and stuff, let us know. You know, leave a comment and let us know what you think. You know, if there's enough interest in this, you know, like Matt was saying, we could definitely do this maybe on more frequently time frame.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. That keeps us going. We just talked about that a lot. And share this out, or maybe just share some information with your fellow squatties about the details. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
close
it.
up.
Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you later.